For nearly 6 years, I kept my fishing boat at a quiet marina tucked away on the edge of a large freshwater lake. Unlike the busy harbours filled with tourists, this marina rarely saw more than a handful of boats each day. Everyone knew everyone else, and strangers usually stood out immediately. It was the kind of place where people left expensive fishing gear sitting on the dock without worrying about it disappearing overnight. That's why the man who arrived late one rainy Thursday evening caught everyone's attention. He didn't wave, didn't speak to anyone, and refused help while docking his weathered cabin cruiser. The only thing more unusual than his behaviour was the overpowering smell drifting from his boat, a rotten odour unlike anything I'd ever encountered on the water. The marina manager assigned him the empty transit slip directly beside mine, explaining that the stranger would only stay one night before continuing north. As I finished tying down my own boat, I introduced myself like I always did with new arrivals. The man barely looked at me. He muttered that he preferred being left alone before disappearing into the cabin and locking the door from the inside. A few minutes later, I heard something heavy slam against the floor below deck, followed by what sounded like furniture being dragged across the cabin. At first, I assumed rough waves had shifted his equipment, but the lake was perfectly calm. Then came another loud thud, followed by a muffled sound that almost resembled someone trying to shout through thick fabric. I spent the next hour trying to convince myself I was imagining things. Every few minutes, another strange noise echoed from inside the boat. Sometimes it sounded like footsteps. Other times, it resembled someone knocking slowly against the cabin walls. Just after sunset, the stranger climbed out carrying a flashlight and walked toward the marina office without saying a word. As soon as he disappeared around the corner, curiosity got the better of me. I stepped onto his boat, intending only to knock on the cabin door in case someone inside needed help. Before I reached it, I heard the muffled sound again. This time it was louder and unmistakably human. Whatever or whoever was below deck struck the inside of the cabin door 3 slow times before everything went completely silent. A wave of panic hit me as I backed away from the door. I reached for my phone to call the police, but before I could unlock the screen, I heard footsteps returning along the dock. I hurried back onto my own boat just as the stranger appeared. He stopped beside my slip and stared directly at me for several seconds without blinking. He never accused me of boarding his boat, yet the expression on his face made it feel like he already knew. Without saying a word, he untied his lines, started the engine, and slowly disappeared into the darkness. The next morning, the marina manager mentioned that the transit slip had been inspected after sunrise. Inside, investigators found fresh rope fibres, deep scratches on the cabin floor, and a second coffee mug that was still warm, even though no one had seen another person leave that boat.